Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hope you've all had a good week. It's been a little hectic, but I'm really looking forward to Friday and the weekend. Hope that you are doing the same thing. If you're coming to my online retreat, I hope you're getting excited, getting your jammies ready. We are going to spend a nice weekend making cards and samplers and just hanging out together. So I'm looking forward to that. We're not here in Vermont, but we'll make it fun. And a couple more things I need to tell you about what's going on. Today is actually the first day of Stampin' Up's New Year. So I wish we could all start all over again New Year today. I wish this was really New Year's. 2020's been a year. It's been a year. So anywho, to kick that off, Stampin' Up! Is they've picked some of their favorite designer series paper. Now, I'm realizing some of you may not know the lingo and may not know what we're talking about. I'm actually gearing this night to people who don't know all about Stampin' Up! But those of you that do, that are here anyway, and I know that, today starts the 15% off designer series sale. So you're going to want to look at it. And when you place orders with me, I love to have that happen, and I reward you with Happy Shopper Rewards. And what that means is I keep track of your shopping, and I get you a punch for every punch, not literally, a punch in the card. Let me get you one. Whenever you spend $50. And when you get that card all filled up, you get a free stamp set, and you tell me what you want. So, if you're going to shop with me, it's really easy. You just go to shopwithkara.com, and that takes you to my Stampin' Up! Site. If you want to go to the blog to read what's going on, you're going to go to karamiller.com, and then you can get to the shop with, you can get to everywhere from there. And then the other thing that I ask if you're shopping with me is to use my host code, and that tells me that you want to be rewarded with Happy Shopper Rewards, and I will take care of that for you. Okay, so let's assume you have never made a card before, or maybe you did, it was a long time ago, or maybe you made it with a Cricut, and you're thinking, you know, kind of like I was with, I made a lot of homemade bread in April. Yep, you can tell. My COVID-20 is right here. So this won't put weight on, well, it might, because chocolate usually goes with this. But maybe you're deciding, you know what, it's fall, I'm probably going to be in the house more. Maybe I'm going to make homemade Christmas cards this year, or homemade Thanksgiving cards, or homemade New Year's cards. I just want to start making cards. I don't know how to knit, I can't crochet, I don't want to learn how to sew, but I could do paper. Paper's cool, I could do it. Okay, and you're thinking, I have no idea where to start. Well, tonight is the night for you. Make sure you go to the blog and download this handy little handout that I have for you there. It says, it's beginning to look a lot like time to plan your cards, but you don't know where to start. So I've got some ideas and tricks for you to get started, and over this month we're going to be doing more and more for people who may have never done this before and seriously don't know where to start. Before I joined Stampin' Up! And I walked into one of the big box stores, I would just stand there and be completely overwhelmed. And then when I decided to join Stampin' Up!, I was completely overwhelmed. I had no idea. I came from the Cricut world. And rubber stamps to me were these red rubbery things on a wooden square, and everybody got inky, and I didn't really get it. I never understood it. Then I learned why everyone loves it, and I get it. So let me show you some things. This is one that we made the other night to kind of, and this is the picture that you've seen with the extra cards in it. Okay, let's move you to the side, and let's get this little handout and take a peek. First thing you're going to do is, just like Thanksgiving dinner, you're going to make a list. You need to figure out what do you need. And if you don't have any of these things, well, then we need to help you. But I bet you might have some. But the first question, never mind all this stuff, you need to do some of this soul searching and these questions and answers at home. How many cards are you going to need? For example, if you are going to make more than 20 cards, you're not going to want to take something on that requires a lot of coloring or a lot of detail, you might want to start with something, even simpler than this. Here is one that is part of our cards this weekend. This isn't complicated. It's a lot of nice layering, some cutting is involved, but you could mass produce this card. You could mass produce this one, but it would take a little bit longer. You could mass produce this one. Not too bad. This one would be super great. If you've never done this before, you and your kids could do these. So the idea is, how many do you need to make? If you're going to tell me you need 100 cards, then let's keep it simple. If you need 20, well, then you can have and you've got time. It's only October. So make your list. Adding things to the simple card design can make it your own. So I put some things in here, and again, if you've never looked at this, you're thinking, I don't know what she's talking about. Skip that. Just move on. Don't let that scare you. We'll show you this month. This is embossing folders, die cuts, inking, fancy folds, and even heat embossing. Those are all things I'm going to show you throughout the month of October. So I figured out how many I need. I've made my list. I have an idea. Now it's time to choose your supplies. I recommend that you sit down with the catalog, and you're going to go through the catalog and really look at them. This reminds me of when I was a kid. The wish book from Sears would come, and we'd all lay down on the floor with our different color well, my mother didn't let us use markers, we used crayons, and we would mark the ones that we wanted, make sure we put our name on it. That's what you're going to do with this. I have, I think I just counted, I have 7. So if you don't have a catalog and you need one of these from me, drop me a note, and I will just send me a direct message on Facebook or send me an email on the website. Make sure you give me your address, and I will mail you one next week. Okay? All right. So you're going to go through, and what are you going to, okay, great. What am I going to look at? I'm still going to be crazy overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. You're going to come through and look for the Christmas stamp sets, and you're going to find ones that you like. So you might say, oh, that's really cool. I like this one. I like that one. Now, they may show it to you in a tag, but we could turn this into a card. This is really fun, but it's not cards. We did this last year, too. It's a really great advent calendar. We've also used it as a countdown to birthdays. Anyway, what's cool about Stampin' Up! Is they put things together for you. So your job is to go through and find a stamp set that you think that you are in love with. One of the things that you want to make sure is that your stamp set has both images and sentiments, okay? Well, what is a sentiment? A sentiment is a word, is sayings. If you find a stamp set that doesn't, like this has a lot of sentiments. If you find one that doesn't really have a lot, like this bow, you might like these bows. You might think those are super cool. And they show you sample cards too, so that gives you an idea. But it doesn't have a lot. Then you might want to add a stamp set like this one. I use this one a ton. Itty Bitty Christmas. It's just tons and tons. It's all sentiments, no images. Okay? So there's that idea. I'm going to keep going through. Don't look at the paper. Just look at the stamp sets until you find one that really speaks to you and says, that's what I want on my Christmas cards. Find one or two, and then think about, okay, let's say I love, I'm trying to look at one that I actually have that I can show you. This moose one's really cute, and he comes with a punch. Now, one other thing that you want to talk about, when you look at these, look and see what is necessary to go with it. So a punch is what I recommend if you've not done this before. You don't need to go into dies, because to have a die, then you need a die cut machine, and then it gets more expensive. If you know that you love this, well, then by all means you're going to want a die cut machine. But if you're not sure yet, start with punches. Punches are super easy, they go really fast, and they're not expensive. So if you love this moose, he's got sentiments, he has moose, he has a Christmas tree, he's got a raccoon, and you grab the punch, you've got a lot of variety. Yeah, the moose is really super great. I love him. That's one that I recommend. Another one, this one is kind of cool. It's got great sentiments. A little bit of coloring is involved in this though, because you're going to get just that. If you're a cat lover, but you could color the cat. So think about that. Again, if you've never done this before and you kind of come up with some ideas and you want some opinion, you want some help, you want some direction, please, please send me a message and I'd be happy to go through things with you and help you narrow it down or help you say, well, if you want that, you need this or you don't need that. This doesn't need to be a headache and it doesn't need to be scary. And going into a store is scary because you don't know, well, now you have to wear a mask, but you don't know what you're getting. You have no idea and what goes together. And that's the beauty of Stampin' Up. Everything goes together. When you see these embossing folders, they're super cool and you think embossing folder. It is a folder, but it needs a machine to emboss it. So this one is the one that I used. You'll also know that I lose everything. It's the one that I used on the back of this card. See it? So you take your paper, you put it in here, and you run it through the die cut machine, which is great. Again, another purchase. So if you see that and you think, I don't know if I like this yet, don't dive into this. Stay away from that for a little bit. But just so that you know what it is when you're looking at it and you don't feel intimidated. This is a really cool way that they've done this. This is layering. Now you have to color Mary, Joseph, and the baby. But that's not bad as far as coloring goes. This is one of my faves. The Snowflake Splendor Suite. Now you're thinking, okay, what's a suite? A suite gives you everything. So if you order this suite, it's $94, but you get this embossing folder that you don't know what it is, and you need a die cut machine for this one. So we could say, yeah, okay, that's pretty, but nope. Now I could have just the paper and use it for anything. I don't need to have the whole suite. That's an option. Okay, so that's the deal. You're going to go through, look at your supplies, and decide on a stamp set that you absolutely adore and say, yes, that's the one I need. I need that one. Here's another one that's really fun that comes with a punch. This is Perfectly Plaid. It's these great trees. We also have plaid tidings this time around, which is a really great paper. So, but at the moment, I want you to focus on your stamp set. This comes with a a punch. Here's my punch. It comes with a tree that you can purchase. So this tree lines up with these stamps. And you have sentiments. Okay, so this is a fun option. Simple, great to get started with. All right, so now you've figured something out. I would not order anything until you start to figure out what you're going to do, how many you need, what do you really need to go with it. And seriously, if you've never done this before, let's have a text chat. I don't need to invade your life, and I promise you, I will not shove you into anything. It isn't my goal. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But if you want to do this, I'm more than willing to help. I tell you, it's really hard. The doves are beautiful. And I do really like that one, and I showed you that one in the catalog. And here's the sweet idea. This one is really fun. The paper is beautiful, and there's not a lot. The paper is so cool that you don't really have to do a lot. It comes with 2 punches. So that's a good idea, too. That one is Gleaming something. Brightly Gleaming. Christmas Gleaming Variety Bundle. The names make me crazy. Then you've got to think about, okay, great. Whew. I figured out what I want for a stamp set. I don't have everything, though. What else do I need? Well, you're going to need, depending on the size of your stamp set, you're going to need some of these cool little blocks. Now, remember, I said back when I thought about stamp sets, rubber stamping, I thought there was like wooden things, and yeah, this is what stamps go on now. So let's say we go with that itty bitty, or the I'm sorry, the Perfectly Plaid. Disregard. The Perfectly Plaid. On the back, it's going to tell me here somewhere. Maybe it's in the book. it tells you the size stamp that you need. So you make sure that you get the right one. This is a C, this is a D. Those are the normal sizes that fit almost everything. They can go as big and as little as what's sitting over here. And your stamp has to fit on here. So you could get away with a C for this one, but look, you wouldn't be able to put your sentiment down with a C. It wouldn't fit. So you'd need to have a D. So you'd need 2 blocks if you thought of that. Right, some of the older stamps, Stampin' Up! Only, since I've been with them, has eliminated wooden stamps. They had them when I first started, and I've been here 3 years. So that's what you're going to need, a stamping block, maybe 2. Now, if you needed this, you don't have to have this one. You could just use one. So you put the stamp on, you stamp it up, you clean it, you pull them off. It's super easy. The cleaning, there are 2 options, and there's a page in the catalog, and I have it set here for you. This is in the annual catalog, the bigger one that looks like this. Both of these are on my website as well, and there's also, the shopping site is super easy to shop in. If you just type in the search what you want, then it would help you. There's 2 ways to clean your stamps. One of them is this little bugger. This is $18. And then you need this mist, so you're investing something, but honestly, cleaning your stamps will make your world a whole new world. So I love this because I don't like to get inky. And what you do is you just take your stamp, you rub it on here while it's still on the block, and rub it on here, and then you're done, and it's clean, and then you put this little messy thing away, right? Love, love, love that. There is this other option, which is a simply chamois. It's a piece of chamois. I don't have one right now because I seriously am not a fan. Some people absolutely adore them. I get inky and I don't like them. It's just like sort of like a sponge, and you clean your stamp set in it the same way, and that's it. It's a lot less expensive. You have to wash it in between. This is my preferred method, but if I've never done this before and I don't know if I'm going to like it, I would go with the chamois, and you might be okay with it. You might like it. It would serve the purpose. They both do the same thing, okay? All right, so there's that. You can see there's a gazillion blocks, and you can spend a lot of money on it. The other option is to go with the Stamparatus. Right now I'm talking Greek again. The Stamparatus is a stamping tool. It's a machine. Let me show you. It helps you to stamp. So if you're brandy new at this, and exactly as Shannon is saying, this is where the chamois comes in super handy. So instead of a block, you are going to stick your stamp on this. Let's say this is my paper, and I'm going to grab my stamp. I have too many things on my desk already. This happens to me all the time. My stamp set's under here. And instead of putting it on the block, you're going to pop it on here and stamp that way. All right, so that is another option. Again, if you've never done this and you don't know if this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and you're never going to do this again, then I would just go with a block. It's one. It's one little block. That's all you need. Okay? Next thing. Still on this page. This is on page 162 and 163 in the catalog. But if you also go to the website, the Shop with Kara, you'll see that there's a place to search at the top, and you can just search some of these items that we've talked about, and it will show you. Let me get that off of there so it's not in your way. So then you're going to need something to stick it down with. Glue stick we don't want glue sticks. Glue sticks won't last. What's cool about a glue stick is it's super easy to use, and then when the person opens the envelope, everything falls off the card, and then no glue sticks. The Stampin' Seal is much, much easier than a liquid glue. We do have liquids. Again, I'm not a big fan of that because it gets messy. So I like the Stampin' Seal. That's our first option. The next thing that you're really going to want are some dimensionals, and they come in packages of 4. And they are little tiny pieces of foam that are sticky on both sides. And they let your cards have a little bit of poof. They pop your card up so it's not completely flat. This one's not a good example, but let me show you. See how there's some dimensionals under here. And so it makes your card have more weight and more heft to it. It's cool. So definitely want some dimensionals. We've talked about blocks. Now we need some snips. Scissors. These are super sharp and little. I recommend those as well. Honest to goodness, I'll be completely honest with you, scissors are scissors. So I love these, but if you have a pair of scissors, you have a pair of scissors. You're okay. Now, if you want to keep it simple, you can stay with one ink, or you can have an entire collection of all the inks that we own. Some of us are obsessive. But if you only want one ink, you're going to want to go with the Memento Tuxedo Black. Basic, wonderful ink. It will cover anything. Start with that. Shannon is saying she has all the adhesives. I will tell you that Shannon became a demonstrator because she wanted it all. And that's my next option I'm going to tell you is if you get to your list and your list is more than $125, then you're going to want to join with the starter kit because you can get whatever you want for $125 and supplies, you'll pay $99. So no, you want the stuff. Stampin' Up! Was Shannon's cure for COVID. I am talking about you guys. I am. So a lot of my team members are here because they decided that that was easier than little bits at a time. You then get a 20% discount on everything that you spend going forward. So lots of options. My job is to help you get this at the best possible deal. I love it when people get free stuff. I love it when I help you find a way to get it for less than what you would normally spend if you didn't have somebody helping you. So anywho, what else do I want to show you? Oh, I wanted to talk to you about the papers. So then now we figured out how many we need. We figured out how complicated can it get. If we have a lot, it can't be complicated or you will hate me. We picked our stamps, we think. Now we need our papers. Now, you could do a suite and then you don't have to do any of that and you let Stampin' Up! Choose it all for you. But if you're going to choose your papers, they're called designer series papers, and there is a lot. But once you pick them, when you look, it'll be in the catalog, but it's also on the back. It tells you all the colors. This is the reason I joined Stampin' Up! Honestly, I am a matchy-matchy girl. I need to know that things are going to match. There are gazillions. You could pick up this piece of pattern paper at the store and wander aimlessly up and down the aisles trying to find, let me get it closer, it's kind of busy, the right green, the right red to make sure it's really going to go together. Stampin' Up! Makes that so simple, takes all of that away and says you need Mossy Meadow, you need Real Red, and you need Whisper White. There you go. All together, everything's going to match. I can buy a package of each and I'm ready to go. The reason I want you to do your list is, do I need one package of paper or do I need two? Because it's really annoying to not have enough to finish what you're doing. Envelopes come in packs of 40. So usually one pack of envelopes is sufficient. So this is one option. If you noticed earlier on the Facebook page this week, I posted, which do you like? More traditional red and green, or do you like blues and greens and silvers? What's your choice? What do you like? I think I like both. I can't really pick. I can see that I love both of them. But this one is the Snowflake Splendor. This is cool because it doesn't necessarily scream Christmas. And you could use this in January. You could use this again. It wouldn't just be Christmassy. This too, although it is red and green, could be multiple seasons. This is the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. Really like this one. And then this one is Snowflake Splendor. This is only 2 of about 15. So again, more choices. And then, as I said, we're going to be doing things all week, all month long with different ideas. Now you've got all your papers and you got all your stuff, and it's like you're going to bake a cake and you've gathered it all together. Now you need the recipe. Now you need to be inspired. The Stampin' Up! Catalogs are amazing for ideas. They truly are. If you look through, we've been doing a lot of casing the catalog, which means copy everything and share. And so we'll find a card that we like, and I've been doing them, I didn't do any this week because my brain's mush, but I've been trying to do them on Monday nights. Right? Shannon says it's like potato chips, you can't have just one. So let's say we looked at, let me find one that goes with one of these things that I have. So let's say we look at the snowflake paper and we're in love with this, and we want to make this card. So we would figure out how to make that card. We, meaning I will help you, and I will give you a sketch to make that card. Now, if there's 700 of you that all ask me for that, I might be slow. I don't think it'll be like that. I'm trusting that I can handle whatever you ask me. So if you look through the catalog and you see one that you absolutely adore and you want to know, how do I make that? Again, send me a note. We'll try and do it in one of our Monday or Thursday Facebook Lives. And again, paper's on sale, so even better, right, Susan? We didn't even talk about the glimmers and the foils. Those can really step your cards up with just an addition of paper. So there's that. My weekly Facebooks, I give the sketch. So when you look at the blog, if you look at my website and then go to my blog and scroll down, and you can see a card that I put a picture and then I'll put the sketch. I also list what I used to make it. So that's a really good resource to give you some ideas. Again, if you've never done this before, that's a place to start. And then, of course, Pinterest. But honestly, Pinterest can be paralyzing because there's just so much. And it's like going into a wormhole, and you go in and you just keep wandering, and pretty soon you're redecorating your bedroom. It just happens. I don't know. Tonight, I have, this is also on the blog tonight, I have some basic card bases, which is a lot of B's and C's. These 2 card bases are the simplest ways to get started, and I'm going to show you how to do each one of those. So let's do this one using the snowflake one. So you're going to start with an 8.5 by 11. Now the one thing I didn't mention that you need is the trimmer. Again, a trimmer is a trimmer, although I love my Stampin' Up! One. They all cut paper. Some cut them better than others, some cut straighter than others. That's the reason I like the Stampin' Up! One. It does a really good job. This paper is 8.5 by 11. All of our cardstock is this size. We do have some in 12 by 12, but mostly it's 8.5 by 11. Our Designer Series paper, that's this stuff, comes in 2 ways. It either comes in a 12 by 12 or it comes in a 6 by 6. But we can work with either one. So to make our card base, we're going to start with the long, we're going to cut along this way. It's 5.5 is where I'm going to set this right at the edge at 5.5. Don't get confused by the centimeters up here. I don't centimeter, I do inches. So 5.5. This is the cutting blade. I drag it down. So now look at that, I just made 2 card bases. Woo! Right, Shannon says, I have several as well, and I don't use them. This is the one I use all the time. So now I'm going to score. Score means to add a little mark that's going to help you fold this even in the middle. Because you could do this kind of deal and then hope it's straight, or you're going to, 4 1/4 is where you're going to score it. And you'll notice that's what it says right here. It says 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. So I line this up at 4 1/4. Now, this is the cutting blade, the darker one. The lighter one is the scoring blade. And when I just rub that over it, Can you see that nice little line? And then when I fold it, perfect, right down the middle, okay? You also notice that I said whisper white or very vanilla. It's white or ivory, but we call it very vanilla here in the Stampin' Up! World. And some of our papers have a very vanilla base. This one is a whisper white. It will tell you that on the back when we're in the, it tells you in the catalog, and it also tells you on the back of the paper which one you're using. The one I used for our retreat was a very vanilla. And see the difference? It's not screaming, but it's definitely different. Okay? All right, so there's this card base. Then I want something on the top that I'm going to cut. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Either you can use cardstock or you can use designer series paper. I'm going to use our designer series paper, and I want this to be 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut a 4-inch strip. I tend to do all my cutting first, and then I work on designing it. So this is going to be 5 1/4. Now this paper is so pretty. That could be your card. You could then take a punch or a circle and a stamp, and you've made a card. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Now it can be. We can make it. Oh, Diana, isn't that pretty? This one is one of our cards from, this is actually a class to go. I did 4 classes to go, and this is one of them. This is using Life is Beautiful. It's a really pretty stamp set with that tree. This room is a disaster right now because I have about 14 things going on. This one. Right? And then this is the paper. This paper is Gilded Autumn? I think it's Gilded Autumn. And then this is the brushed metal. So pretty. Simple, but really pretty. So here's this card, okay? This card's ready to decorate. Shannon actually has all of that. Diana, if you know Shannon, she will hook you up. Okay, so that's this card. Now the other design, I'm going to move this blue out of the way. This one, it's 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, I'm going to go with the Whisper White again. Now remember, oh no, I'm not. I'm going to go with the real red. My card base doesn't have to be white or very vanilla. It can, but it doesn't have to be. So again, 8 1/2 by 11. I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4, which seems weird. And then I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. Make sure you use your light gray one. Oh, well, Diana, you, trust me, she has more than the catalog has. She will hook you up. It is. Isn't it beautiful, Debbie? It's so pretty. Yep, love that one. Okay, so there's that card base. Now, I'm going to do the same cardstock. So this would fit on here as well. Oh, those colors do not go. So I'm going to take this one that does go, and I'm going to do the same thing. So now this is how I could make, let's say I'm going to mass produce this card. I need 10 of these. So I'm going to cut this at 4 and 4, and this is why these sizes work really well to make bunches of. And then I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. Yes, I'm cutting all 3 at once. Get it nice and straight here. 5 1/4 and 5 1/4. So for my one piece of designer series paper, and I would need 3 of these. I've now made 6 cards. I've now cut enough for 6 cards. So that's why I'm saying that you need to sit down and figure out your list of what you need. Making the same card is actually pretty easy because you're going to basically have an assembly line for yourself. So I would go through and cut all my real red bases. I could mix it up if I wanted, because I could do this and that would look really cool if I got sick of doing the same thing, or I didn't have enough real red. Maybe I needed to use my Mossy Meadow. Maybe I bought a pack of each. I could use this side, and that's kind of red and green, right? I wouldn't do that. That doesn't go for me. It goes like this, though. And then this side is perfect. So, now that I've confused everyone, just want to get some things out of the way here. All right, so I have this and this. So now I'm going to take my adhesive and I'm just going to run that down. And I'm going to stick that on here. And then this is ready to add a sentiment or an image. I could use I could cut a piece of Whisper White and pop that on the front and stamp that if that's what I wanted. I could use my tree punch that we talked about. Now the moose would look super cute on the front of this. You could put the moose on this one. A lot of times what we do for our sentiment is we'll put it on a strip like this. This was cut, and then this is one of our new really fun punches. And this gives you the ends of your ribbon. So you can either have these 2 tails or you can have this little pennant. That's the pennant. This is the, I don't know what that is. I don't know the right word. But all different sizes fit in there. It makes 2 cool ends of your paper. This is a tag punch that created that. So this box was all made with punches. Okay? This is also in the blog if you're looking for it. We did this maybe a week ago. All right. Well, I hope I've inspired you to think about making some handmade Christmas cards this year. If so, stay with us. We're going to be doing this all month long. I'm going to do different things. We will actually make real cards, not just put them sort of together, I promise. But I wanted to give people an idea of what it entails. It's really not that scary. And again, if you don't have anything and you don't live next to Shannon, well, then let me know and I will help you get started. Shannon, thank you for being such a good sport as I picked on you immensely tonight. But you're good pickings. It's been fun. Thank you guys for coming. Be sure that you hit up the blog and download some of the things that I talked about tonight and see what you think. And we'll be back on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And those of you that are coming to the retreat, I can't wait to see you. Bye.